Alright, so here we go again, trying to show you Christian people the difference between the Holy Covenant and sacrificial law. I am sick, and I really, really mean sick, of making the same video over and over and over and over again, showing you people time and time again this difference between the Holy Covenant, the Ten Commandments, and the sacrificial law, the law of sin and death. I don't know. I've lost track of the scriptures comparing the two and showing a very clear, distinct difference between these two things. And yet still, I will get a handful of people in the comments, we're not under the law, or like, Jesus set us free from the law. We're not under the law of sin and death. Oh, look at this Pharisee trying to put us back under the law. He needs to be set free in Jesus. I'm not trying to put you under the sacrificial law. I just know the difference between the sacrificial law and the Holy Covenant. Yeshua, the Messiah, Deuteronomy 18, Luke 1:72. He came to teach and remember the Holy Covenant. How is teaching and remembering the same as abolishing? What are you talking about? You have major, major flaws and huge contradictions in your doctrine. That's why you don't understand the Bible. You are without the Spirit of truth because you won't obey God. Because you're without the Spirit of the Spirit of truth, you are just frazzled when it comes to understanding this book. You don't stand a chance, right? So, watch every single video I've made on this account. There's like a bazillion examples that I've given, but here's another one. Why not? All right, here we go. Hebrews chapter 9. Let's go from 19. Verse 19 of Hebrews 9. For when Moses had spoken every precept to all the people according to the law, he took the blood of calves and of goats with water and scarlet wool and hyssop and sprinkled the book. Read Deuteronomy 31 verse 24. When Moses had made an end of writing the words of this law in a book, he placed it on the outside of the Ark of the Covenant. The Ten Commandments written in stone went on the inside of the Ark of the Covenant. So he sprinkled the book with blood and the tabernacle and all the vessels of the ministry. And almost all things are by the law purged with blood, and without shedding of blood is no remission. Almost all things. Not all. Almost all. Okay? Now if we go to... do I keep reading? No, well, hold on. It was therefore necessary that the patterns of things in the heavens should be purified with these, but the heavenly things themselves with better sacrifices than these. Wow, look at that. There's a difference. He's saying that the things written in this book of the law needed blood, but there are these better sacrifices, these heavenly sacrifices that don't need the blood. So what is that? This is what I'm trying to show you. For Yeshua is not entered into the holy places made with hands, which are the figures of the true, but into heaven itself, now to appear in the presence of God for us. Nor yet that he should offer himself often, as the high priest entereth into the holy place every year with blood of others. For then must he often have suffered since the foundation of the world, but now once in the end of the world hath he appeared to put away sin by the sacrifice of himself. And it is appointed unto men once to die, but after this the judgment. So Yeshua was once offered to bear the sins of many, and unto them that look for him shall he appear the second time without sin unto salvation, right? Okay, so still, my focus is on this verse 22. Almost all things are by the law purged with blood, but not all, right? So, Romans 3. I'm just trying to find it. Right. Let's have a look here. Right, so Romans 3 from verse 19. Now we know that what things soever the law saith, it saith to them who are under the law, that every mouth may be stopped, and all the world may become guilty before God. Therefore by the deeds of the law there shall no flesh be justified in his sight. For by the law is the knowledge of sin. But now the righteousness of God without the law is manifested, being witnessed by the law and the prophets, even the righteousness of God, which is by faith of Yeshua Messiah unto all, upon all them that believe, for there is no difference. That isn't actually the bit that I wanted to read. Hopefully I can find it without having to stop and start the video again, because that would suck. So God, one second. Right, okay, so I found the right scripture now. It's in Romans 8. That Romans 3 one still totally applies, because it's saying that the righteousness of God is now manifest without the sacrificial law. So even that's showing you there's a difference. You've got the righteousness of God, and then you've got the sacrificial law. Okay, so the righteousness of God is the Holy Covenant, and the royal law, which is all about rebuking people to return to the Holy Covenant, it's saying the same thing, you know. But the actual scripture that I wanted to read is here. So Romans 8, I'll just go from verse 1. There is therefore now no condemnation to them which are in Yeshua Messiah, who walk not after the flesh, but after the Spirit. For the law of the Spirit of life in Yeshua Messiah hath made me free from the law of sin and death. So the royal law has made you free from the sacrificial law. For what the law could not do, in that it was weak through the flesh, God sending his own Son in the likeness of sinful flesh, and for sin condemned sin in the flesh, that the righteousness of the law might be fulfilled in us, who walk not after the flesh, but after the Spirit. So there is righteousness within the law. This is what the Hebrews 9 was saying, that almost all of the law could be purged by blood, but not all of it. Okay, so Isaiah 42, the prophecy of the Messiah, is that he was going to come and magnify the law and make it honorable. So what does that mean? Well, within the law, like baked right in there with the sacrificial law, you've got these two commandments which are honorable within the law. And these two commandments are to love God with all of your heart, soul, mind, and strength, Deuteronomy 6, 1-5, which means to keep the 10 commandments, and loving your neighbor as yourself, Leviticus 19, 15 through to 18. And it means don't stone each other, don't offer burnt offerings and sacrifices, rebuke each other. Watch for your brother, watch for your neighbor. If you see them sin a sin, you rebuke them according to God's righteousness so they don't suffer the consequences of sin. This is the righteousness of the law. And those that are following Yeshua, those that believe in Yeshua, that righteous part of the law is made manifest in us because we are loving God and loving our neighbor according to the scriptures. This is what the gospel is. That we are now able, because of Yeshua's sacrifice, to be set free from this law of sin and death. Now we can return to the Holy Covenant in obedience, and we can hold each other to that obedience, and we can watch for each other so we don't suffer the consequences of sin. This is the righteousness of the law. This is what Hebrews is talking about, that almost all of the law was purged by blood, but not these two commandments to love God and love your neighbor. That's not purged by blood, because they are the sacrifices of righteousness. They're the sacrifices that God desires. So there you go.